Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3.
All right, we got audio.
Excellent. Gonna send out some invites here real quick. Thank God for copy and paste, eh? I don't like that song.
All right. General announcements. Public. Hey, Akron. Just sending out invites right now. See if we can get some people.
Been watching any of the X4 streamers? I know how to take it like so far and then I get stuck. Like I don't know how to automate anything yet. Well, I'm gonna do the news and then we're gonna do the X4 thing. I'm gonna remap the controls so Oxford sees that done. And then I'm gonna pick up where I left off, which is I need to buy a satellite for some quest and put it in orbit.
Alright. But alright.
Okay, it's about that time. Take a sip of tea. Relax. Some things prepped up here for news tonight. I got a water tank with a hot water dispenser. All I gotta do is throw tea bags in a cup, and I walk up to the spout and turn it on, and hot water comes out. It's kind of cool. I switched to tea at night because coffee's been keeping me from sleeping properly. At least that's what the doctor said. I think we got Board Gamer, got Nubifier, check on Star Citizen Gamer, see if we got our Blast Cast. Like Teller's got one, but I don't know if that's still got one from 2 weeks ago. Nice. No, Tanak, I'm not in SC. This is my warm-up. I'm just playing some footage that I made while I'm setting things up for tonight's news. So we're gonna take a deep dive into Star Citizen and what's going on, and give people a chance to ask questions, and we'll try to dig things up and get to the bottom of it. Then I'm gonna go into a game. We're gonna play X4. It's kind of like a single-player Star Citizen type game, kind of like a Star Citizen pacifier. I'm gonna go over the control setup. It's pretty difficult to get it set up. Some people are having problems, so we're gonna do that. And then we're going to do a little bit of X4 gameplay. And then we're probably going to call it about 4 a.m. Eastern. I'll be playing Star Citizen all Xmas vacation, Christmas time. Got 10 days off. Well, I got 30 minutes, so I think I will update my Star Citizen. Get it ready. And if it's been patched. I'm just going into Star Citizen and checking on my things, seeing where I'm at before we go through the news. Give people a little bit more time to get here before we take a deep dive into what's going on. See, Oxford's with us tonight. Hello, Oxford. So it looks like I'm still at Lorville. What it looks like. The last time I tried to escape from Lorville in a half hour, I didn't make it. The damn jumps too long. So tomorrow, hopefully they don't patch, and I'll be able to get off of Lorville and try to do some missions. Where should I go to get missions tomorrow, Oxford, when I get home from work? Or where are you at so I can meet up with you? I'm on the live build, or do I need to download the PTU to play with you tomorrow? And where should I be? I do like this room we spawned in. Really does look lived in. These rotten people didn't pick up their cards. They left some chips here too. Wonder if we'll be able to play this stuff, especially these arcade games. See, that's all. Oh, that don't look good. The heck is going on there? Alright, so if I download the PTU tomorrow before work and I take a spaceship to Lorville. You're already at Lorville, so when I log in, we'll be together? Or you're not doing Star Citizen tomorrow? I called my elevator and I missed it. Well, I saw B. I'll try to do that. I'll get the, when I wake up tomorrow, I'll download the PTU and I'll take something to Lorville, and I'll be at Lorville waiting for you to drive me around. I'll grab some beer too on the way home from work. I'll be in a good mood. There's no noise in the elevator to tell if it's moving. It's not good. What I'm doing right now is I'm trying to remember how I got to my ship, because I spawned my ship and I couldn't make it to my ship in a decent amount of time. But I remember now that after you spawn your ship, you come in this hallway here, and these are the dock numbers. It's all coming to me now, what I did last week. And the terminals weren't here. The terminals were somewhere else. Then I had to like take an elevator up here, I think. So where's the ship? Oh no, they're right here. No, these aren't ship terminals. I'm not in the spaceport. I still gotta take the train. So from here I gotta go to the... Okay.
Why not consider calling
Gotta read the signs.
Residences are available at all price points. See a habitation rep for details.
The train's this way.
Need a job? Person Dynamics is currently hiring in multiple departments. If credits are tight, we even offer a credit advance for new qualified employees. See your
The Metro Center, is that the train I need? Probably not, is it? Residence.
Why not consider calling Lorville home? Residences are available at all price points. See a habitation rep for details.
Administration office. this is where you buy stuff. Okay. Is it the metro train that takes me to the, not the metro, yeah, the metro center? Maybe it's,
Person Dynamics is currently hiring in multiple departments, spaceport, and industry lines.
yeah, spaceport. There we go. So I have to come here.
Welcome to Metro Center. Transfers to the perimeter, spaceport, and industry lines. Welcome to Metro Center. Transfers to the perimeter, spaceport, and industry lines. Welcome to Metro
This is
Center.
spaceport's this
Transfers
way.
to the perimeter, spaceport, and industry lines.
Okay. So when I spawn, I have to take the spaceport train.
Trespass on train tracks is a serious and dangerous offense.
See, I'll only have so much time to do this before work. That's kind of like why I wanted to do a dry run. What I gotta do. And then it takes like a half hour to fly here. Well, I guess I'll be going from Port Olisar, so it won't be bad. So I'll spawn at Port Olisar after I download the PTU. So after I install it, I should be able to do it in 45 minutes. Is the mission sharing thing in yet, or is that like the next patch? Is that part of the PTU, the mission sharing? I'm wondering if that's something that they patched in or something that's coming
Please
later.
watch your step when disembarking the train.
Oh, okay. I was kind of excited. Not excited about sharing rep with anybody though.
Lock doors.
Not excited about that part.
Person security reserves the right to search travelers at any time. Review the latest person logs before entry.
Just the ship port. Okay. So when you spawn your ship, let's pick a random ship here. When you spawn a ship,
Your ship has been
it
delivered
gave
to
me
the
a
following
number that I
landing
had a
ground.
hard time finding it. So I got number 5. So there's like no numbers anywhere that says start going. I think I came down here. And isn't there like elevator somewhere?
Employment officers for job opportunities in a variety of fields.
I remember taking an elevator to
Orville
the
is strictly prohibited.
ships.
Safety is paramount to us.
Head towards the New Deal and then
You
go
are subject
right.
to all person law and
The
can be
New Deal.
prosecuted for violations.
I don't know what the new deal is. Okay. Head towards the new deal. Then go to the right. Okay. So 3 would be the first one, and then 5 would be the second one? Oh no, they're numbered on the floor. Okay. I see how they did it. I felt like a retard, and it took me like an hour just to find out where my ship spawned. Ha! And there's my ship. Now I know how this works. Alright. Yeah. I'm gonna do the news, and then we'll do the X4 after the news. So I'd say we'll be ready for X4 in about hour and a half. Cause I cover a couple things that are kind of long-winded. Probably gonna be like 2 20-minute segments. Hey, Mental Shock. Nice to see you back, buddy. Okay. Just wanted to get the theme in case I gotta load any updates for tonight. I don't know why, man, but my updates don't just automatically update anymore. Gotta like click on them, get them the stuff. Why don't you tell me what your issue is? Remember your last issue was you took your stick apart and stripped out a screw or something. I'm pretty good with issues. Describe it to me. I will say that most issues can be resolved by deleting your user folder Just delete the whole folder. Oh, so blurry. Are you talking about when you're flying in and the planet hasn't fully loaded yet and it's bringing in the graphics slowly, or is the whole game period blurry? When you're walking on the planet, is it blurry, or is it when you're approaching the planet and you're slowly coming to it? Okay, there's an option called motion blur that you need to shut off in the options. And then there's another setting called sharpness, so you can increase the sharpness. And I'll show you. I know my screen's small, but this is because I play super high res, so I don't know if you can see this or not. But if you go in here, you can override the game settings. So whatever the game's doing, you can override it and set up your own with an NVIDIA profile. So you'd go to let me see here. Been a while. Manage 3D settings. Then you'd go to program settings. I'm showing you how to fix it right now. So then you'd go here. This would be all your games. The Star Citizen won't be in here because it's not really a game yet. So you have to hit add. And a window should pop up, but it didn't. Oh, it's loaded, it's thinking. So far I went to manage 3D settings, and then I went to the program setting tabs and I hit add, and now Star Citizen pops up right here, and then I hit select, add selected program, and now I have Star Citizens in my profiles now. So now I can custom make a profile for Star Citizen, and I can use all these tweaks right here to override whatever's going on in the game. So you can do everything right here, everything. So you should be able to play with these settings right here. Like you could take the quality and put it on like crazy high quality. And then you can take the atmospheric filtering, play with that. That might be doing it. Anti-aliasing could make it blurry. Sometimes it's this one right here, the gamma correction. Play with that, turn that on and off. But yeah, that's how you get control of it. Yeah, you can add it to the game. Yeah. You can do it like crazy high too in here that the game doesn't do. You can like set it to like, see right here, I'll give you an example. a filtering right here. I can set that to like times 16. And then right here it says aliasing mode. I can hit enhance the application setting. And then I can take that and crank it up to like times 8. And then there's the aliasing transparency. You can crank that up and do all that stuff. Yeah, but that's how you would do it. This right here is even better than the config file that they give you. Hope that helps. Yeah, I got a water-cooled 2080 Ti, custom water-cooled job. It's crazy, dude. The thing like just sits at the same temperature no matter what I do. Like right here, like it's at 36 right now, and when I get to gaming it'll go up to like 48. That's about it. CPU is a different story. SX will go all the way up to 60 even though it's water cooled, but it's overclocked 5 gig though. It's expected to run hot. Well, you're bypassing everything that Star Citizen's playing with. So all that crap that they're developing and tweaking and all that, you're getting away from all that and you're going straight to like NVIDIA's filters and stuff that are designed for your card. I think that Star Citizen is going to be more geared towards AMD's hardware. At least that's the way it seems to be, the way they're going. Alright, looks like I got 3 minutes. So I'm gonna go top off my coffee. And I'm gonna be back. Hopefully I don't get raided when I get my coffee. Seems to be what always happens when I go get my coffee. I get raided. Yeah, Twister knows a lot of stuff, man. If you guys got problems, you ask me, you'll get the answer. Or I'll find it. Right back.
going through the motion. Don't know what else to do. Tides have pushed and pulled against us, and I'm so far away from you. Waiting for the storm to clear, just waiting for the storm to clear. I'm waiting for the storm to clear, just waiting. Only when the sun appears, I'll be waiting. Only when the sun appears, can I find you again. Can I find you again?
All right, I found some nuts, some pomegranate seeds, and the wife bought me some sugar-free chocolate because she heard me talking about chocolate with Oxford and how I wanted some chocolate really. I can't. So, like sugar-free chocolate. So, we'll change the scene over. Set up. Feel the music. Uh-oh, the wolf just came in here. Wants my chocolate. No, you're not having my chocolate. You get out of here. I don't care if you're big, nasty, and scary. I don't care. It's chocolate. Not like a tuna fish potato chips. It's chocolate. Big scary wolf dude came in here with chocolate. Alright, let's start out the news with let's see. The Day Late Gamer, the guy that swears all the time. Looks like he's playing Red Dawn Redemption. Okay, let's go to STL Youngblood. Ooh, he did a review on the Max. And the Constellation Emerald first look. Okay. I need to see both of these because I own this one and it's only 2 minutes long. Well, the Hawk too. Did you guys already see the Anvil Hawk first impressions from STL? Only 6 minutes. We already seen the arrow. I know Oxford did the arrow because I saw him. But we'll just pick up from what I know we did.
Hey guys, Youngblood with you, and if you haven't played in the PTU yet for 3.4, the Anvil Hawk is now in-game, assuming that you own one. Now, I was able to get one of my org mates, Slyfi, to pull one for me, and I wanted to go ahead and give him a quick shout-out because we spent about 2 hours trying to meet up in the verse last night, fighting
like
through crashing and anything
twice.
possible that could go wrong.
No, it's his video. Something's like borked with his video to where it's coming through twice.
But I finally got in one, so Slyfi, thank you. Anyways, I was able to finally fly the ship, and it's really a pretty great little vehicle overall. You know, we know it comes with 6 size 1s, with the current loadout being 4 M3As and 2 distortion cannons, and it also comes with an EMP and a prisoner holding cell. But as far as the ship itself is concerned, from a flight perspective, it kind of flies like a dream. It accelerates very well, while nothing like a Herald or a Razor, but for a combat ship, it's very impressive. The top speed in SCM comes in at 275, and it can afterburn up to 1,235 meters per second in cruise. That puts its SCM ahead of the Avengers and on par with the 300s, and just a hair behind the Gladius, with the cruise speed being equal to the Gladius, but behind the Avenger and actually ahead of the 300. The acceleration is one of the keys here, though, because while something like an Avenger may be faster at top speed, this ship is accelerating better. At least it feels that way. Now, in regards to agility and responsiveness, though, the ship really handles well. It utilizes 8 fixed thrusters, which, if you remember, are the ones that don't have to move before firing, so they are more responsive, in addition to having 4 joint gimbaled thrusters that help with the fine control, so you get a really nice balance that allows the ship to change directions quickly, but gives you some fine-tuned control over your movements as well. And this really applies to both atmosphere and space because it handles very similar in both environments, probably based on the wing configuration. With how much crashing was taking place, I didn't really get much of a chance to do a lot of combat with this ship. So once things get a little bit more stable, I'm certainly going to go around testing and kind of following up. Now, we did do some testing with the EMP, however, because it does come with a small EMP on board. Now, we've seen various ranges of EMPs on different ships before, and while I'm not sure how current these values are, when we tested before, the Warlock was kind of the range king at something like 2,000 meters, which far surpassed the Raven, which came in, I can't remember, either 600 or 800 if I recall. But the Hawk is actually coming in lower than all of those numbers, where it seems like the effective range is about 430 meters for that EMP. Now, as far as how much impact it actually has, I was testing on a Phoenix. It drains a fully shielded Phoenix to only about 84% shields remaining, so it's only taking off 16% of the shields. However, once the shields are powered down, it's actually going to completely kill power to the ship, which is pretty impressive when you start talking about a ship of that size. So I think that really seems to indicate that your best approach, if you're wanting to utilize the EMP, would be to hit your target with a combo of distortion and laser weapons to get the shields down to somewhere in the 20% remaining category, then fly in with the EMP charge to unleash. That does come with an interesting caveat, though, specifically with this small ship. The power plant is having a hard time managing all of these components at the same time. So much so that the EMP is actually powered off by default. So even if you start to get the charge of the EMP, if you want to be able to do that, you need to actually go into the MFD screen to actually turn on the power to the EMP to make that work before you can then charge it. And then if you start to charge the EMP and you watch it climb, but maybe maneuver your ship a little bit or fire your weapons, or maybe take a little bit of damage, you're going to notice that the power percentage is going to drop. It's going to slow down or maybe even fall backwards and kind of interrupt the climb up to 100%. Now, you can fire it before 100%, but if you want that maximum effectiveness, you need to get all the way up. Basically, what that means is that if you're wanting to utilize the EMP on the Hawk, it's really best in situations where you're not needing your shields to recharge, your weapons to fire, or for you to make aggressive flight corrections, which is complicated if you're trying to wear down shields to use this little EMP to give you the desired result. So that seems to indicate to me that the EMP should really be more supplemental or almost a backup plan, or probably just indicating that you really need to handle your power management effectively and probably plan on sacrificing shields or engines in favor of weapons on your power distribution
Sounds
to
like you
ensure you
need,
can
like,
actually
4 or
prioritize
5
the EMP
of,
burst if you're wanting to do that.
these ships to be effective.
Now, as far as the
against
design,
a big
the ship is cool, and it almost reminds me of something out of Stargate. It's kind of like the big pyramid head guy from Silent Hill, but either way, it's kind of a radical design for an Anvil ship, and I like that. I was a huge fan of the glass at the bottom of the cockpit in the concept and seeing it actually in the expo, giving you the ability to help track your ground targets. And if you're using head tracking, that's going to have quite a bit of value. So you can kind of fly parallel to the ground without having to actually keep pitching up like you would in another ship. But at the end of the day, it's a very small window with very little lateral viewing angles. So it's going to have some limited value, but it is something. Now, the prisoner cell at the back is actually kind of creepy, because once you go in, it's very much like a coffin, and I would not want to be locked up in one of those. That being said, today, you're actually able to log out in one of those and treat it like a bed, but just know that they stated in the Q&A for the ship that it's not going to be in the final game like that, so unless they change their mind, don't count on that being a viable log out and come back in location. Overall, though, it's a fun ship. It seems like a decent fighter. It flies like a dream. It has some nice tricks up its sleeve, so I'm pretty darn happy with the way that it turned out. So if you guys have questions about it, please ask. Otherwise, appreciate you guys watching. Stay tuned for a lot more.
Alright, the Anvil Hawk, small ship, lots of weapons, EMP. I believe the wings fold up to make it easy to store away. The problem is the power plant can't handle what's on there. So if the EMP only brings down the Connie shields like 18%, then it takes so long to charge it, so the shields are going to come back up. It's going to be really hard to get the shields down by yourself. So you're going to want like a pack of 5 of these, because 5 times 18 is almost 100%. All 5 of you do your EMP, fire up your guns, take down the rest of the shields, start working on the engine components, disable the Connie, and then board. So basically, it's a piranha ship. It needs to be in a school. So next up, I own this one.
Hey guys, Youngblood with you, and I want to make a real short video today just showing off one of the newer ships in the game, being the Constellation Phoenix Emerald. And I'm not going to make this long because ultimately it is a very similar ship to the Phoenix. It literally just has a different paint job on the exterior of the ship itself. So I'm going to go ahead and kick this thing into third person so you can actually see it. But it does have this kind of darkish green color, actually a little bit lighter than a little bit darker than I expected it to be, but you can see it kind of running down the sides. It runs over the nacelles a little bit, kind of encompasses the cockpit, and then gets over like the fans, like the retro thrusters. And overall, it's a cool look. You know, I think it's actually, for me, preference-wise, I like the look of it a little bit better than I do the Constellation Phoenix just on the exterior. That being said, I think we're going to obviously be getting a lot of options as far as color changing on your ships and doing paint jobs and stuff like that. So, you know, how much value a skin like this actually has when it doesn't change anything is probably fairly low to a lot of people. However, if this is kind of a unique decal that kind of, as far as like the design, that may be a kind of a different story. If
I
this
like
is
the
really
color
just the
green.
look you really
I thought it was going to be like a
yeah, again,
like a
on the
bright
interior,
green,
the living
but I wasn't
space,
gonna
the
like.
bar area, all of that is completely identical. So there's not really anything to show there. But considering this is one of the more unique and different ships in the game, I did want to go ahead and let you just get a kind of look at it, since
so it's kind of like a
I personally haven't
camouflage.
seen it in the game. I was kind of surprised
It's
it was even there. So if you have any questions, let me know.
It's like the white is tan, and the green is like a dark green that you'd find in a camouflage. I wish he would have did like a top view of it. Maybe right here.
The cockpit, and then gets over like the fans, like the retro thrusters. And
I
overall,
like it.
it's a cool look. You know, I think it's Actually, for me,
like
preference-wise, I like the look of it a little bit better than I do the Constellation Phoenix just on the exterior. That being said, I think we're going to obviously be getting a lot of options as far as color changing on your ships and doing paint jobs and stuff like that. So, how much value a skin like this actually has when it doesn't change anything is probably fairly low to a lot of people. However, if this is kind of a unique decal that kind of, as far as like the design, that may be a kind of a different story if this is really just the look you really desire. But yeah, again,
That's the one I own right there, LTI Emerald. Okay, now we got the whole Max showdown. Full walkthrough. 6 minutes of Freelancer Max.
hey guys, Youngblood
goodness.
with you, and what I wanted to do in this video was showcase the Freelancer Max that's now available in Alpha 3.4. Now, if you're uncertain what the Freelancer Max is, it is the heavy cargo variant of the Freelancer line, and if you're uncertain how to identify one, look for the Freelancer with the big booty and the extra engines, or the bright orange paint job, which a lot of people kind of hate, but I actually think it's pretty okay. It's not as obnoxiously bright
like
as
it,
I
'cause it
expected it to
matches
be. It's
Oxford
almost a little more
color.
subtle kind of blend between like a bright orange and a rusty
It's
orange.
the
as well.
Oxford's paddy wagon.
Overall, I think there's a lot to like about this ship, with a few points of annoyance, those of which I'm hoping mostly will get worked out. One of the things I'm still really holding out hope for on this ship is that it ends up being one of the larger ships that's able to fit through the smallest jump points. Now, this is technically a medium ship, but I think, as I've said all along, there's some sort of balance that needs to be struck between this ship and the Taurus, and I think that could very easily be what does the change, or kind of makes their little justification there. Anyways, as far as the flight is concerned, you'd think that with an empty hull, having 4 engines, it would actually be a fairly quick to accelerate ship, but that is definitely not the case. It feels more sluggish
said
than
it
the
was.
standard Freelancer, though I didn't really time it, just a comparison to a ship that I fly a lot. The top SCM speed on the Max is 210 meters per second, which is actually faster than the base model at 205 meters per second. However, the top speed in cruise on the Max is 1005 meters per second, which I compared to the Miss, which shared the same SCM speed as the base model. So I'm assuming that the 1035 on the Miss is the same as the stock Freelancer. Now, as far as like maneuvering and just control, it does roll fairly well, and yaw and pitch are somewhat responsive, but don't get the idea that this is a nimble craft. It does, however, have medium-sized gimbaled thrusters, so there is some fine control that you get when you're maneuvering the ship. The good news is that it comes stock with OmniSky lasers on the turrets. You have 4 of them, and they're size 3 weapons that have long range, they're heavy hitting, and because of that, it allows you to try and keep some distance between you and a would-be attacker while still dealing some significant damage from a decent range. Now, in addition to those guns, you also bring 2 size 2 distortion weapons on the turret, which I believe are the DRXJ cannons, which don't really do any damage at all, but they do really make it so shields go down fast when they're hit with, energy or ballistic weapons. And they have a hard time recharging more with more hits because you're basically tossing flux into the enemy ship. So they're cool weapons, and I think that distortion weapons are something more and more people are going to start running on their ships. Now, there are some very bad points about this manned turret, though. And some of the most frustrating parts of this ship are actually tied to this turret. First off, the damn rails. If you're wondering what fits in the cargo area, it's 120 SCU of cargo, 2 Cyclones, or an Ursa. Except that the Ursa doesn't fit because the rails for the turret seat come down too far, and then you can't fit the Ursa because it just collides into the rails. If those rails weren't there, the rover would work, but that's not the case. My second point of contention with the turret is that the hump that comes up in the top middle of the ship, the thing that almost looks like a handle at the top of the ship, yeah, it gets in the way when you want to fire forward. So you lose out on a lot of ability to help your pilot with forward-facing targets. The third issue, the glare in the turret is so bad. It's like you're looking through curved, thick glass, almost like you're at a round aquarium. I'm hoping this one is a fixable issue because it makes the turret, especially when you're around moons or stations, the star, really anything but dark space, impossible to see out of. Now, the good thing about the turret is that I love the addition of distortion weapons for making a very good supplemental type of weapon to be used. The problem with them, though, is that if they never do damage to take down the shields, and if they don't impact other systems until the shields go down, there isn't really a good way for you to be able to run away and allow your turret to be the deterrent, because it would rely on your other guns to actually hit the target, which they can't do facing forward. So there's some balance that needs to be made somewhere with the distortion weapons before we really understand how they apply to something like a turret on the rear of a ship. Now, other than that, you can really just get a feel for how darn big this ship is compared to the base model. Now, I know this isn't very scientific, but I stepped it off in the back of the ramp on the base model, and it took my character about 4.5 steps, whereas to walk across the max, it took me almost 8 steps to make that happen. That lines up pretty well with the cargo difference too, considering the base model carries 66 and this one is 120, almost being twice the cargo capacity, so we're seeing almost twice the width in the back area for carrying cargo, which is pretty neat. Length of the ship is about the same, so when you start talking about the difference in cargo, it has to come from the width of that back area. Outside of that, it's a familiar ship. You know, the component rework in the back of the ship, the secondary cargo space in the middle, living quarters towards the front, and then the cockpit up front for 4 people. I'm still hoping that this and the other variant actually get some remote turret options, not only for the top rear turret, but also potentially for the sides.
I wonder if a Merlin
I think
fits
that's
in
something
there.
that would
I bet
provide
you a
value
Merlin
to
would.
all of these
Looks
ships
like a
and
Merlin
maybe
would
kind of
fit.
get rid of some issues like the rails. But we'll see if that comes to fruition or not. So that's your quick review on the Max. I think this is the trading ship that I've really been waiting for. I like doing cargo with the Caterpillar, but I also like using the Freelancer. This is kind of my middle ground. This is the one I've been waiting for, so I'm very excited to have it in game. If you guys have questions, let me know. Otherwise, stay tuned for more coming your way soon, and I'll talk to you guys later. Take care.
All right. That was all 3 videos from STL Youngblood. I'll put that link for you guys in chat. And then we are going to go to Tactical Advance. Let's see what he's got. So, Tactical Advance, we got Lancer Max, his take on it, and Fisk. I think we've seen enough about the Max, so we're going to Misk.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tactical Advance here, and welcome to a ship review. Now today,
Hi BTV.
we
How you
are
doing,
going to be
buddy?
taking a look at the Freelancer Misk. A few days ago, we did take a look at the Freelancer Max. We got the dirt to go, and we're going to take a look around. And the first thing I actually want to say is just to wish my little nephew Harry a happy birthday yesterday. Hope he had a nice day. We went out for a meal, and yeah, let's get on with the ship review. Right. First off, pretty obvious the colour. I actually really like it. It's probably one of the first ships I've seen that is all one colour like this, other than the little racers and so on. I actually really like this. I prefer it in the silver. Either this or black. I'm still yet to see a black ship inside of Star Citizen. For the very main reason, it's just going to be harder to see when you're in space. This sort of dark green, the military green, it just looks really smooth, doesn't it? I like the fact that it's actually a matted colour as well, and not sort of shiny. Just makes it look a lot nicer. Now, what you will notice compared to the other Freelancer series is the front end.
Yep, it's Wednesday.
And clearly, it's no way as wide as the Max. You can see it's quite narrow. And it's got these little ball things on the front as well, so you can tell the difference between the two of them quite easily. But very, very narrow. If you remember, the Freelancer Max was as wide as it was long. This is definitely not the case with this one. It's definitely longer than it is wide. And clearly, it's got some good firepower as well, but we'll take a look around. Maybe we should go and have a look on the light side, probably a better idea, isn't it? Yeah, once again, really like the paint scheme. Looks really nice. Four of these in total. 2 hard points, but 4 guns. And these Gatling guns are awesome. Must admit. Definitely motivates you to get something like a Misk if you're in
These Gatling guns, because they're ballistic, they're not going to give off a big energy signature, making the ship more stealthy. And the missiles aren't going to give off an energy signature. So this is not a stealth ship. Okay, I'm not saying it is, but it's going to give off way less of a print on the radar than, let's say, the other Freelancer. So it'd be harder to find this one. I mean, they actually might have to use the ping feature and give up their own position to find you. This is kind of like a big stealth sub.
Interested in decent firepower. We'll fire them off later as well when we go for a little bit of a flight. See how we get on with
for a
them.
ride. This is going to get good.
Does look very military, doesn't it? Sort of all these rounded edges. It looks very nice. I suppose the green would probably help if you're on a planet with lots of trees. I suppose if you landed in, you know, embed yourself in the trees somewhere, might be a little bit harder to see from the space or atmosphere.
Only thing's bad is the cockpit view on this ship. I mean, a combat
These.
ship should not have a cockpit. Should
Pretty
be more
decent, aren't they?
open.
I did notice something, for some unknown reason. The landing legs don't come down. In landing mode, weird, isn't it? It just sort of lands on these. Maybe it's a bug. Guessing it is a bug because it just looks like it's sitting very, very low. They don't seem to attract it. Extend at the moment. If you remember, if you watched my previous video, you remember that the Freelancer Max, they actually extend out when you go into landing mode. At the moment, because they don't extend, it does cause a little bit of an issue because of this little tailpiece there. So when you try and land, even if there's a small rock there,
I just
you do
repeated
struggle.
myself
You did try
because
and
I
land
knew
on
I
one of
was
these
muted.
pads, not that one there.
So I
but
started
the
over
smaller
with what I
ones.
was saying, so you didn't miss
Struggled
anything.
a little bit. Engines are absolutely awesome. Now you can see clearly the difference between this and the previous Freelancers, and that is the engine housing is not encased. Now I'm guessing to reduce the IR
I don't
output,
like the silver
you
on
probably
the
noticed that
engines.
pretty much the majority of the
They
Star
should be
Citizen
black.
ships that advertise a low IR point, they cover the engine shell,
Silver
and
looks
they
like
normally
crap.
cover some of the rear exhaust as well, if you can call it that, or the rear engine, to try and reduce down that IR detection. But with the MISC, doesn't really seem to be the case, does it? I suppose you probably wouldn't be too bothered if they saw you coming. If you've got a decent bit of firepower. The engines look absolutely awesome, don't they? Got some little LEDs down here as well. Did notice them on the other ship. Can carry cargo in this as well. I mean, you could have this as your only ship inside of Star Citizen in the PTU for the next, year to 2 years. You can make money with it, but it's just going to be a bit of a slower journey. Clearly, the big advantage here is if you want to do sort of drug runs and make the most money, then you've got a decent amount of firepower to get in and get out and not blow up, basically. And if you're in the Freelancer Max, if you've got a bit of a crew with you and good gunners, you could still do it as well. All depending on
Is
how
the
many
video
people
too
there, I
loud?
guess.
Or is it good?
Let's take a look inside. There are some similar things, I would say, to the previous ones, and you can first off see that the door is literally half the size. Don't worry about that, they'll load in. Now I did put some cargo in, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the lights on. We're going to show you some things. Yeah, I did try this before. Someone said you can do it. I did mess around with it. Oh, there we go. Not sure if that actually... No.
Thank you, we just fall.
No major issue. Be handy if you could do it from there, wouldn't it? Just put it in flight ready, eh? You're bouncing around a bit, but we should be alright. Just to get the lights on. Here we are. Cargo's in. It's going to be a bit of a pain getting the cargo in. I know the cargo just appears in the cargo hold, but once again, them things, it all don't make sense, does it? They're in the way. How would you get that top box up there? You have to do some weird...
I
lift
think
the
it's
bottom one
shorter
up
in
and
there
then slide the bottom in.
than a
This is bit
regular
concerning. These
freelancer.
handles
Doesn't
here.
go up that high.
I suppose they've got caps on, like, if it is like toxic waste, biohazard, someone comes in and pulls that handle. Yeah, one thing I did notice that is odd. Yeah, you noticed that as well, yes? Now, there is a problem with this. Have you thought about what it could be yet? Well, I'll give you a bit of a hint. Now, what have we got on the wall over here? Oh, so we got modules over here, shields. Yeah, that's going to be a problem. So, big problem, that, isn't it? I think that it can't stay like that. I can't see how it could stay like that. I mean, that means that when you're using this ship and you've got cargo, you're basically stuffed if one of these modules go here. You have to eject your cargo to get to these modules. But the weird thing about it is, if you look here, look, stand there. Now, I know this is hard to measure, isn't it? You know what I mean? Half a metre, maybe? And we'll just stand over here. Does it looks the
there's supposed
same,
to be
doesn't
like
it?
a missile station back there.
The
so
red lines, I mean, it's not a lot, is it? If you look at these sort of stripy lines here, you've sort of got, what, an inch, maybe 2 inches if I zoomed in. It might look like
I
an
think
inch
they
from
should
here, but
use the
let's
max
just say 1 or 2
body,
inches.
the wider body
On
for the
this
missile
side,
boat,
you can see that you lose an
and
inch.
have
just
like
that 1
crew
inch.
stations on the side of the little
And
cargo
probably that
thing,
handle, yeah?
like a chair.
If we
and
go around
somebody
this
sitting
side-
there. And then they can raise the price of it.
Theoretically, right, the handle's not there, so maybe... Nope. So, anyway, that has got to be a fix. They cannot leave that like that, because if these become active modules, I mean, you could even argue that when you're opening this door, that is enough room to look at that, isn't it? I mean, how do I get down here?
They
Don't
should have a
fall for the
radar
ship here, but you see what I'm
operator
getting at.
painting targets on
You
one
need to
side
be
of
able
the
to crouch,
room,
didn't you?
and another guy
To get
launching
down, I don't think you
missiles
can actually
on the
crouch
other side.
to look at that bottom door while you're in this section. Well, what's the fix? Well, it's not easy, is it? You can't reduce the cargo size because that affects every blooming ship, wouldn't it? I think they've got to make it wider. Or, if you actually look down here, I'm just looking at the thickness between that door and the outer piece of metal. It's quite
Cyclones
thick, isn't it?
fit
What,
in
3 or
there.
4 inches? You look
As
over
far as
here.
I know, I thought the Cyclone
They could just
fit in
plane
the
off,
Max.
maybe. Oh no.
You put 2 of them in
Just
there.
take that bezel off or something so you can get in there. Surprised someone didn't actually whack the cargo in there and go, oh, we can't
Have
get
to
around
try
that
it
way.
tomorrow.
Sort of slightly pointless of having a gantry. Anyway,
I think 2
that was my
would fit.
first observation. So 2 little things. Once again, the similar sort of thing we had before with these weird arms and how the hell did that cargo get in here? And you can't get down there to change your modules, so it's going to be changed, isn't it? I can't see them leaving like that.
Can you get in the turret
but you can access
still?
all of these ones, it's all fine. These cargo containers look awesome. Is that actually touching the ceiling? Oh, I don't think so. I think that's
You can
probably
get in the
alright. And when you go in here, slightly different room. Guessing this is the missile loader. Actually, probably should say it's above the door, doesn't it? It says docking. That's not right. That needs changing as well, doesn't it? Because docking's here.
Oh, some more cargo.
You know what I'm going to say, did you? Have you thought about it already? Right, now, I know it doesn't really matter. It's only a game at the end of the day, right? I'm just highlighting some of this stuff. It's not an issue. It's just, you know, observations. That's a big box. That is a small door over there. I feel sorry
Yeah,
for the guys
the
that are
box would
loading
not
this
fit
ship
through the
because
door.
I have no idea how they managed to get them boxes in this room. But anyway, that's how it makes up the additional cargo from the rear. And I think this is probably more than likely the evolution of cargo units. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think after Sig watched this video, they should
The evolution of cargo
probably
in Star
realize they
Citizen from the
need to
very
use the
start to
max
now.
body for it.
And I don't know, maybe they need to add it into their QC process of when they make these ships. They should QC it with cargo in and make sure that... I'm not so concerned about this. As long as the boxes go in here, it's not the end of the world, is it? It's more to do with just basic access and the side panels. I think they've got to, you know, it's got to be fixed, isn't it? But yeah, loads up in here as well. Doesn't really affect the use of this room. It's all fine. You can still get out the top airlock, so... Probably want a sound animation on there, aren't they? For the first one, well, it's not really the first one, isn't it? Because there's quite a few patches on the PTU, but there's absolutely no complaints with these. If they released every ship as well as these are, I think that we'll all be fine, wouldn't we? Gone are the days of falling through the floor and falling through the ship. There's that weird thing that comes up. I think it's something to do with the Mobi-Glass.
That could be too.
If you see my other video on the Max, this is identically the same pretty much. I'm just going to have a double check.
Guess I'm greedy and I just want to see
thing,
it get
isn't
bigger.
it? And that thing there again. Exactly the same toilet. So this is the same same module. This door looks like, I think, is a different colour. I can't remember. Was the other one yellow? Oh, didn't really want to do that, but anyway. Concerning. That could have gone horribly wrong, hadn't it? I do appear to be hovering off the floor. Well, it prevents anyone getting in. Oh, that's weird, isn't it? See, the other ship didn't do that, did it? When you pull the ladder up, let's just do it again, because the door closed. I remember I had to manually close that last time. So this time I'm just going to open the ladder. So when I close that... It obviously only closes the door once you enter the ship via the enter command. Maybe they want to set that to when you close it, you know, when you attract the ladder, that this door closes as well. Don't think it really matters. I don't think that that's going to help, you know, affect oxygen supply, but it might do later on, I guess. And maybe that little panel there is to say if it's safe or not, or depressurization or something. Who knows?
Yes.
But yeah, we've seen this before. Pretty much the same. Same seats as before. We do have the turret, actually. We can go and look at the turret, can't we? Don't know if I should move the ship a little bit, but we're hovering off the floor. We should be okay. Shouldn't affect anything, should it? Ah, this is going to be interesting. Oh, the seat comes down this way, isn't it? Oh, it's going to squash me. Expecting this to be very similar to the previous.
Oh yeah, that glass is horrible. Horribly distorted.
Once again, it's very slow moving. Maybe because, I don't know why it's not firing. Looks like they're pretty much the same guns anyway, aren't they? Glad there's no one bopping out around here. Yeah, very similar to the previous, isn't it? Have a quick look around as well. Probably need to sort them animations out a little bit inside, don't they? Switch your fire mode. Exit. How does that affect things? Alright, that's the joy. Okay, that's probably help you aiming, doesn't it? Can't actually change any of that. They probably can, actually. I'm not going to spend loads of time. Power off. And exit. There we go. So pretty similar. If you've seen the Max video, if you want to see me firing the guns, just go and check out that Max video. Same thing. It's going to get slightly differently when we get up the front, because obviously the side mounted guns are different as well. A lot of people did comment on that previous video on the Max. Some people saying they don't like the... That could have gone horribly wrong. Because they don't like the view out the screen. The reality is pretty much every ship inside of Star Citizen has its issues. whether it's either view or something else, that's not issues on, you know, Star Citizen's point of view. These are the designs and concepts of the ships. There's never going to be a ship that is perfect in every way, because it becomes overpowered, doesn't it? There will be little quirks and little things on all the ships. I like it because I think it adds a little bit of personality to the ships. Some people are looking for sort of the panacea, you know, the
I think you
perfect
can buy them.
ship.
Just not
And
now. Once they figure out how
like
to
I said,
do it,
there's
they're
always
gonna
little
put 'em
issues with some
on there.
with pretty much all the
You'll have
ships.
to pay a lot of money for them.
So
They'll be auto turrets.
the difference between this and the Max, what I've noticed, although the top speed is, I think it's 1045, so it's a little bit faster, like I said, here and all there, the other one's 1005. But what you do get with this is the acceleration time. It's already put my landing gear up.
Landing gear down.
The acceleration speed is quicker. It's definitely quicker than the Max. So the time to top speed is definitely quicker. You do feel like when you're flying the Max, I would say 0 to 300 is pretty quick, and then it sort of ticks up quite slowly. And don't forget, I'm coming out of sort of atmosphere here. But nippy, yeah? The maneuverability feels very similar. There doesn't seem to be, you know, when I'm flying it, you can see that there's a bit of a turn and there's a bit of weight to it. But that's sort of expected for a ship this size. It's not going to be, you know, flying around like some little racer. You're going to have that slightly sort of slow moving to some extent. So them thrusters look like as well.
I think they got rid of the Phoenix's point defense cannon, if I remember.
You can see the maneuver thrusters there moving. Quite sizable as well, their maneuver thrusters.
Kind of suck.
It's pretty cool. Jump inside. Right, these guns. Let's give them a go, I guess. So we look towards the floor so we can see. They're so close to each other, the bullets, you barely even tell that there's... You can sort of see that there are multiple streams there, but it's not... It does seem... It's almost like a laser beam, isn't it? There is a spool up time as well, so it's not like... If I press the mouse button now, you've probably got, what do you reckon, 1 or 2 seconds before it starts firing. It's not horrendously bad. If you're going to be leading targets and then you start firing now, you want to probably pre-fire. And that way then, you know, they lead them into the bullets. But, I mean, let's just hold them down for a while. Just to give you a bit of an idea. Now, I'm not totally sure if this is a bug or not, but it does seem to fire quite a lot. I don't know if you would agree with me. I'm not going to bore you to death, guys, but this goes on for quite some time.
That makes me happy that they're going to add it.
So, and I'm not seeing any issues with... I'm not seeing any heat generated by them that is making them slow down. I'm guessing that maybe that's going to change. I don't know. It just seems to go on forever. I've never even managed to run out of bullets yet, so... Interesting one. But then again, I suppose, look, it is a military ship. You sort of expect it to be pretty strong like that anyway. You've got all your missiles and torpedoes and bombs, whatever we want to call them, eh? Big debate on that one, but let's not get into that. It's got loads of them on board as well, so if you've got them as well. So, overall, look, this is a military ship. You can do cargo runs on it. It has got pretty decent guns. I mean, anything smaller than you're going to tear them apart, let's be honest. I think when the new flight mechanic comes in anyway, I think it is quite hard to outturn a lot of the smaller ships. So your disadvantage at the moment is if you do come across a Hornet, Sabre, or anything small, even the smaller ones that can't really do any massive damage to you, you're going to really struggle, right?
All the missiles that this thing's carrying and the guns it has... You had a couple Hawks or some smaller ships, any smaller ships, Sabres, Hawks, whatever fighters. So like 3 or 4 of those and 2 of these firing missiles after missile after missile, working on the shields, and then all those cannons along with the fighters, because the fighters would keep the turrets busy on the hammerhead, so that they wouldn't be focus firing on your miss here. You probably could have a fair chance of taking out the hammerhead, depending on how good your fighter pilots are at not getting. Because this one could hang off distance and come in just barely in range, launch missiles, and then come back out, and then come back in the fire, and then come back out and ride that line.
In the target like this, and you can see it, there is a little bit of delay in stopping as well. So your disadvantage is maneuverability, but the strength is the firepower, so there's a bit of a trade-off there. Now you could argue that if you want to do bounty missions and just do military stuff all the time, you could definitely go and do a AI mission in this and shoot Hornets, AI ones anyway, and Auroras, no problem. You're tearing apart with these guns. And also you can fire off the rockets as well. So all in all, it's a really decent ship, and I imagine a lot of people have bought it as well. Looking at the exterior, I think it's one of the most pleasing colours by far. I would definitely like to see full colours on ships more often, rather than the old blue stripes and orange stripes. This one does look really cool, but the question is military green relevant now? I mean, military green was quite relevant when we were doing tank welfare in green areas. Depending on what area you go to, you change the colour, right? So if you're in the snow, you might go white. Now the argument is if you're a military ship, maybe it should be black. Just throwing it out there for the thought process. We will be able to change skins and colours later on in game, so just thought I'll throw that one out there for a bit of discussion in the comments as well. So that's everything from me. I hope you enjoyed the video today. Fantastic ship, and I think if people out there have got it, let me know what you think about the Gatling guns. Aren't they going to stay like that, or do you reckon they're going to reduce it down?
Okay, I linked Tactical Advances video in chat there for you. We're gonna move on just to see if Montoya's got anything intelligent to say. One day ago, the Hawk is awesome. Fallout 76, Fallout 76. Let's give Montoya his 6 minutes of fame.
Wasn't that awesome? That was not the opening cinematic to some amazing new game. That was simply a guy in 3.4 Avocadi landing the Hawk on a hill and zooming out the camera. I added music for effect. Isn't this the most beautiful game that you have ever seen? I don't know about you. Star Citizen has ruined all other gaming for me, and I've gotten this from other people too. I am now a lighting and texture snob. I didn't really care about textures too much before, but I need to see high quality textures in everything I do. I'm playing Fallout 76, and people hate the fact I personally don't own a 300 series ship, but it did need a serious rework from the beginning because there are small issues like where does cargo go.
What
also,
happened? It just like
the
skip?
continuing up across the board every citizen. It doesn't matter how close. I am now a lighting and texture snob. I didn't really care about textures too much before, but I need to see high quality textures in everything I do. I'm playing Fallout 76, and people hate the fact that I'm enjoying it, but I'm playing Fallout 76, and it bugs me to no end when I walk up to a wall or anything and the texture is just terrible. It looks like it's something from 1985. The texture is so bad, but in Star Citizen, it doesn't matter how close you walk to something, it's just beautiful. Everything is so pretty. But let's move on. The roadmap. 3.4 is out, Evocati testing right now, and they are having a ball. I'm seeing in my Discord right now, it is packed. It has been packed for weeks. You guys in other organizations, what's the activity like in your orgs right now? Because I see there's a bump across the board everywhere. So many people playing and jumping in the game. It's really good to see. We haven't seen this kind of activity since right in the beginning when the Hangar modules came out. The excitement is palatable right now, which is...
Now, this is what gets me, guys. This guy is a wing commander like myself, meaning he's at least spent $10,000 on spaceships. And he's playing with SciTech OTAS. I don't get it. He should have some Verpals or Warthog at the very least. I mean, I owned my Warthog before Verpal was a thing, but damn, how can you spend that much money on ships and then play with the cheap plastic things? I think he needs like a GoFundMe or something.
Beautiful. But let's take a look. 3.4. What is happening? As always, this is brought to you by Odysseus 1992. The design is by Sneckham. Thank you, gentlemen, for your continuing updates for this beautiful, beautiful roadmap. As you can see in 3.4, currently out to PTU, yellow check marks down the board. Everything is in, including what we saw, the Anvil Hawk right over there, which I think is, to me, the most exciting small ship that has come out in a very long time, because it's going to open up the Bounty Hunter gameplay mechanic, which is sorely needed, something else to do in the game. And I grabbed some pictures off of Reddit. Take a look at that.
Yeah, but you didn't spend $10,000-$20,000 on ships like he did.
A lot of people are saying the ship is ugly, but I think it is beautiful. The design is weird, but I love weird. I love the look of this thing. It is so unusual, so original, and Boba Fett approves. But I am looking forward to getting into my Hawk when this does go live. I think I melted my Xi'an Scout a while ago for the Hawk, which is how excited I am for that. So looking down the line here, 3.4, everything checkmarked out. 3.5, and what's going to happen here now? In Q1 of 2019, DNA face customization. Right now, what we have in the face customizations is pretty much just a default, but you'll be able to take pieces and parts from other faces. You like that nose, you like those eyes, and piece everything together. It is my goal to create my ugly mug in this game.
Right before Star Citizen launches, I'm going to go with Verpal's best product line and either sell my Warthogs really cheap or donate them to some lucky winner on the channel.
Actually, I should get my face scanned. Can I pay to get my face scanned to CIG, because this needs to be in the game? Playable female characters. Yes. A lot of you guys, I know, want to play female characters because you are weird. A lot of the ladies want to play female characters because that is normal. But that is finally coming out. It's been a while. Everyone's been waiting for that. At 79%, no changes there. ArcCorp Planet, exciting stuff. 89%, no changes yet. Area 18 landing zone. This is going to be spectacular. Area 18, if you thought Lorville was pretty, Area 18 will be too. Now, my only real concern with Area 18 and other city planets is, will we be able to fly through the buildings, or will everything be a no-fly zone? I suspect there'll be areas where you can, but if an entire planet is a city, or cities are very large, I strongly suspect they'll be going with the no-fly zones, and there'll be certain corridors where you can fly. That's how I think they're going to pull this off. Origin 300i.
Okay, my thoughts on the no-fly zone. The no-fly zones have to exist because all that stuff is supposedly real. So that's like going to be where people are walking around inside those buildings and stuff like that. So you got ships that can crash into the sides of these buildings and do stupid stuff like that and kill people. That's not good. So I think that's why there's have to be. But I was told it's all real. It's not a no-fly zone because it's not really there. I hear it's all really there. It's just gonna be like space for non-PCs and players. So if a mission giver's in a certain building and some guy runs into it, now people can't do the mission because the guy's dead and stuff like that. So it's part of what's
Rework. Origin owners are looking forward to this a lot. I personally don't own a 300 series ship, but it did need a serious rework from the beginning because there are small issues like where does cargo go. Also, the reworks are looking spectacular, so be excited for that. Now, the Banu Defender is interesting. It's got Xeon tech, Tavaran tech. There's a lot of different technologies from alien ships going into this ship. Now, the Defender to me is kind of strange. The cockpit positions. I suspect they're going to stick in some very impressive weaponry and engines in that ship. We will see. Mr. Light, no change. A lot happening there. No changes to anything much yet, but this is exciting. Guild systems. If you are an org leader, you are dying for this to get out already. There are so many things all of us can do as organizations, but the problem is a lot of people sign up, they join an org, and then they kind of fall off and they wait for something exciting to happen like a new patch. With a guild system in place, I suspect we'll have the ability at least to ping our members and say, hey guys, there's an event happening, everyone hop in, let's do this. So being able to reach out to your members is going to make a huge difference to you, smaller orgs especially, as far as activity goes. So looking forward to guild systems. In fact, out of 3.6, there are all these amazing things. The guild systems for me is what's exciting. And Gas Cloud, actually, they've moved on that from 3.5, which is up 7% to 74%. Exciting. So that wraps up our current 3.4 roadmap. As always, ladies and gentlemen, if you do enjoy this content, please give me a thumbs up, and your comments below are always appreciated. Let me know,
all right, Montoya. Very good, Montoya. Very good. Like it. Okay, up next on our list, Armenian soldier. Get our dose of piracy. Even if he read it word for word, it's really quite possible that it's a mistake because CIG just keeps moving stuff around. I really think talking about the schedule's pretty much pointless compared to, because it's just been all over the place. I mean, I think we're supposed to get the female things like 6 months ago. We still don't have them, so take their whatever they're playing with a grain of salt. Okay, 4 days ago, ship updates. Guessing about the Vulture. Why not? Ships, so that's watchable. This is the ship, the mini scavenger ship, the complement to the.
All right. So first off, yeah, sorry about yesterday's show. The music was left a little bit loud. Hopefully today we'll see the correction in that. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to do it. Obviously, it wasn't intended. Just kind of the realities of a very tight production schedule right now. Trying to get.
Can you guys hear him all right?
Big move, and I'm still trying to adjust.
Let me know if you can't hear him all right. We'll skip this video.
Kind of difficult because I'm now working in an environment completely devoid of furnishings, so there's a lot more background noise that can come through and bounce around in here. But here we go. Ship updates. So, realistically, over the next little while, the ship updates thing is going to get a little dry. I mean, we know that, right? You can look at the production schedule and you can see what's coming up. And yeah, you know,
I'm having
there
trouble
are a
hearing
few
him.
Interesting ships.
We'll wait for
but
him to
they're
get his
none
mic
of the
fixed. He said he was
real
having
big
problems.
prizes.
I got it turned up
Yeah.
all the way too, so I don't know. Normally he's got really
We
good
finally know
audio.
what's up with the Idris. I mean, we have acknowledgement.
Gotta
on
see
that,
if,
that indeed
Citizen
it is going to
Gamer
wait until post
are
Squadron
two,
42 release and probably
Two guys that do the Blastcast. They said they're not going to do anything till next year, but a lot of times they cheat. Okay, they just did some Arma stuff. I guess they're holding to it. So we had our last Blastcast a couple weeks ago, and they're not going to start doing them again till the beginning of the year. Supermac. 2 days ago, Star Citizen, Microtech first look. Did Oxford do this one? Did he do this 2 days ago? I remember him looking at trees and stuff. I can't remember. If it is, let me know if you guys already seen it. If not, we'll watch it.
Hello and welcome to Star
Watch
Citizen
it.
Sunday. This is a weekly show which covers all the news from Star Citizen from the week just past. I am your host Mac, so let's get on with it. This week, 3.4 goes to Open PTU. Female characters are getting really close, plus we get the first glimpse at a biome of Microtech. So before we get started, I just want to bring you an update on 3.4. Alpha 3.4 is now on the Open PTU to all backers. This means it is still in the test universe, so do expect bugs and issues here and there. But if you want to play it, the option is there for you now. You need to go into your account and copy your account over to the PTU and then download it from there. I'm not expecting a long PTU session. Now it's available to all, so it shouldn't be too long till it goes to the live build where everyone can play it on the live servers. I've not had much time to play it personally, but I hope to bring back my gameplay series over the Christmas break, which is perfect timing considering that this is the last week of official Star Citizen content. So do keep an eye out for that one. So the first question for Calling All Devs is, will NPCs walk around on board my ship if I hire them, or will they just sit in the turret if that is the role I chose for them? Now they say that each NPC will have their own schedule that they will follow. This will tell them when they are on and off duty, they will need to eat, shower, sleep, and do anything that they need to do. There will be different modes for your ship, like combat mode for example, and when you enter this sort of red alert state, your NPC will then enter this combat schedule and head to their stations and stay there until the sort of red alert mode has been disabled. So this basically means whenever they're eating or sleeping or even in the toilet, as soon as this red alert kicks in, they will stop what they're doing and run to the station that they were hired for. They did say that if you leave them on combat mode, then their morale may start to drop as they may become hungry and they can't really leave the station. A bit like The Sims in a way, but without so much micromanagement, so they will be able to look after themselves. You just need to make sure that they have the ability to. Which I think is quite cool, very fun to know that there's more facets to your AI. It's not just a case of go do this, now do this, and so forth. So I'm looking forward to how that will play out. Anyway, the next question is, what are the plans for ship configuration persistence? So for example, keeping your MFD alignment, your weapon groups, maybe selected countermeasures, or even just your power settings. Now they say that the fundamental systems are there to make it happen, but it just requires each individual feature team to figure out what they need and what they want to prioritize. It also needs a UI method to allow us to do this, maybe in-game somehow. Like I say, the fundamentals are there. Hopefully they'll get that sorted soon, because it would be a very useful thing to have, is maybe having stealth mode or combat mode and being able to just flick a switch and go straight to it. Anyway, final question, will we be able to adjust our seat height in the ship cockpits? Now they said that they would love to give us the height adjustment option ourselves. However, there are a few issues that they need to handle first, like the HUD UI, the cockpit control, stick and throttle with the IK system, plus the animations. They all need to be figured out.
Can't wait
Once
to
they
fly
do,
my
they'll
Idris.
probably let us adjust the seat height. Anyway, that was Calling All Devs, guys. Let's move on.
We're gonna have so much
So on
fun
Around
on
the
it.
Verse, we saw the white
All of
box
us.
research and development on city block biomes, like for ArcCore being full city planets. They're using this newer planet tech to create more of a man-made biome, and they're looking to get a better sense of scale, variety, and detail. Being able to see a whole skyline and buildings way off in the distance is what they're looking for. They did say it's better than when we saw it last, and it should look incredible when released, and it is looking pretty interesting at the moment. We also got to see how Lyria is coming along. This is Arcor's Icy Moon, but we also, a little further ahead, got to see Microtech. Only one of the biomes. It's kind of a Nordic pine-like forest for this much colder biome. Microtech is the coldest planet in Stanton due to a terraforming accident. It's not completely covered in snow and ice though, which I was expecting it to be. So it's nice to see there is a bit more variety there, and if you are getting sick of the snow and ice, you can just venture off a little further to find a forest. We are beginning to see the potential of the variety of all these biomes as well. There's so much choice there. But I am very much looking forward to seeing more on the way of snow and ice and that sort of thing. They're putting the finishing touches on the new mission giver Wallace Klim as well. I think they said he's a widow.
Breathe the air on these planets does this mean you can breathe the air on these planets? If they got trees and all that stuff?
Dealer and probably a user as well. But to finish off with on ATV, they took a look at female characters. Now, they're currently adapting the existing armor, which is being used on the male characters for the females. They're making sure that there is just as many clothing and armor options for females as there are for males. And we also got to see how they do this. So they blend the shapes into each other, which allows it to be done much quicker than starting it all from scratch. They have been preparing for this for a long time, so it's not a huge task. But as I've said, there will be equal options for both males and females, but both will also have unique options as well. They did say they actually have quite a few bespoke outfits backed up in the pipeline for both females and males, so they will be starting to trickle down now. But armor is going to be gender neutral. They don't want to femalize or sexualize these armor pieces. So on chest pieces, there aren't going to be breast areas for the females. They're going to be very gender neutral. We saw some Hurston management concepts that Jay Lee has been working on for the clothing. This is sort of a very wealthy feel to it. They're trying to blend the 1920s opulence along with sci-fi as well, and I think it looks just phenomenal. I'm sure they're going to be quite pricey in the verse, and whether we can wear them, I'm not sure. I'm sure there will be a place where we can buy them from, but it's looking like it's coming along very well. Anyway, that was ATV, guys. Let's move on. So also this week, Galactic Guide goes to the Keel system. December's monthly subflare is finishing off the red and blue armor sets with the chest pieces. And finally, also for subscribers, is the latest portfolio post focused on Greycat Industries. So that brings us to the end of the show. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a video. Hit that thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and share the video with all your friends. If you like what I do and want to help me make it better, follow the link below to my Patreon page to learn more.
Okay, we all know that gender neutral armor is not what we bought into. We bought into boots. So everybody needs to write CIG a letter on the importance of So Supermac, I think the lore came out. Yep. Did this one last time, and now this one's. Oh, it's a little bit longer one, 14 minutes. Galactic Historian.
Hello and welcome to another Galactic Historian lecture. My name is Paul Berserker01 Batman Shelley, and I'll be your professor and Galactic Historian tonight. Tonight we're talking about the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, which is the premier aerospace and the space and exploration expo convention in the Star Citizen universe. So let's get started. So,
get the wildest hair.
The story of the IAE starts with Audrey Timmerman. Audrey Timmerman grew up on a planet called Lo in the Corel. Blank on that one. It's been a while since I've done these lectures. Lo on the Corel system, in a place called New Junction. Corel is on the border between Banu and human space, and so she often saw new ships coming and going from the spaceport there, and would actually become so good at identifying spaceships that she could just see the silhouette and know what type of ship the manufacturer was. She had an encyclopedic knowledge of spaceships. She wanted to be a space pilot, but she never had the chance because her parents were too poor. They were modest, had modest employment from on Corel, on Low. So she only had a chance to see the ships, never actually fly them, or not enough time. So when she turned 18 in 2656, she joined the UEE Navy, wanting to become a pilot. She failed most of the qualifications to become a pilot, but her knowledge of ships became very useful. So she ended up getting an enlisted job as a mechanic, working her way up pretty quickly to what's called the pit chief. Now, there is not a lot of information on what a pit chief is. I tried looking it up for, in terms of modern navies. I didn't see anything similar. Modern navies usually separate electronics, avionics, mechanics, all the different types of things that will go into an aircraft, into different jobs and different roles. So, and I think in Star Citizen, essentially the mechanic is all of those in one. So, I'm assuming that she had the rank of petty officer, if not Master Chief Petty Officer, in the UEE Navy, based off of my own research with the UEE Navy. She served aboard the a frigate called the UES Solus. Now, this was, I think this was originally written before the Idris became the frigate of the UEE Navy. But since the Idris is one of the oldest surviving ships in the UEE Navy, and is still in active service today, it's probably good to say that she served aboard the UES Solus, which was a Idris-class frigate. Now, she served on the border of Xi'an space, which was a hotbed during the Xi'an Civil War. She is alive, obviously, in the middle of the Xi'an Civil War, or Cold War, Xi'an Cold War. So, she described it as being long stretches of boredom punctuated by pure terror, often having skirmishes with Xi'an and raiders and other kind of forces on the border out there, on the Peri line. But her life would change entirely when one day her squadron returned intact and carrying something new: the wreckage of a Xi'an fighter. This wreckage she analyzed in detail, trying to figure out all the systems, how it worked. She became fascinated with Xi'an tech and alien tech in general. Being that she was from the Corel system, she had seen her fair share of Banu ships, but she had never really got to see the alien ships up close. So this changed her life forever, wanting to recreate Xi'an tech with human tech. Now, this is important to note, this is long before the Xi'an had an open trading agreement with the UEE, and before MISC was even a company. So a lot of this was before a lot of the modern trend to try to ape Xi'an tech with human equipment.
Yeah, give me 1 second.
So when she got out of the service in 2667, she returned to Low and opened up a repair shop. She named the repair shop Intergalactic Aerospace Repairs, kind of naming it because she wanted to eventually be able to fix Banu, Xi'an, Tavaran, and human ships all together, seeing herself as a mechanic of all species. Then in 2670, she started to make modifications to her Aurora with an experimental thruster design, the maneuvering thruster design, which was inspired by what she saw with Xi'an tech. But she was afraid that if she flew it in the landing areas, that she would have an accident and then crash and cause a lot of damage and destruction. So she thought of the idea of taking her ship, the Castor, to take it for a spin. She talked to a bunch of her other friends who agreed that it would probably be a good idea and asked if they could bring their custom ships to test them and show them off as well. So her and her spaceship enthusiast friends loaded all their ships aboard a transport, took the transport to Castor, which is the fourth planet in the system, which is completely devastated, and had themselves a kind of a little mini show, a little ad hoc road show. Unfortunately, her thrusters completely failed, so it didn't quite work, and I don't think she ever really got the hang of Xi'an tech in her lifetime. But it is marked as the first Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, but it didn't have a name. They had so much fun that in the years following, they started to continue to the tradition of doing the IAE together. Now, a few years later, one of the group members of hers, named Stefan Dillard, who's a spaceship enthusiast himself, he actually owned a spaceship store that was called Stefan's Ship Emporium. And he saw the potential of this gathering because it was getting bigger and bigger every year. So he went to Timmerman and said, hey, why don't I officially sponsor this event? And I will show off the latest and greatest ships from the actual manufacturers that people can purchase right there on the planet. And you can show off all this experimental tech and do some daring, dangerous stunts and that kind of stuff, and we'll make a huge event of it. She agreed, and they named the event the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, based off of her repair company, Intergalactic Aerospace Repairs. This is when it officially became the IAE. It became so popular throughout the years that eventually, in 2683, RSI themselves officially sponsored the event, being the first major manufacturer to show the latest and greatest technology from RSI at the show. This would slowly, snowball into becoming more and more of a corporate event beyond just the ad hoc kind of local ship show that it started out being. She got a lot of flack for it, but in her mind, she thought it was good because the more attention brought more travel, and more travel brought more tourism, and it encouraged the enthusiastic love of ships, which is what she was doing it for in the first place. In fact, she eventually created a nonprofit organization to run the IAE, and that organization was set aside to get any of its major profits, any of its excess and proceeds to an organization that she created called SimPod Pals, which was supposed to give poor kids who didn't have access to SimPods or pilot training time a SimPod or access to pilot training that they would normally not be able to afford. So allowing poor kids, the chance to train to become space pilots without money, So kind of like something to give back to what she was when she was growing up. Now, many years later, in 2847, the board of directors decided that they wanted to move the IAE from the Coral system to other locations in the universe. The idea was that they could spread the love, they could get more people to show up because some people couldn't afford to travel to the system. So this way, if they continue to rotate it, more people would be able to show up. This continued to happen for many years until 2913. In 2913, Governor Juna Zur of the Keel of the Keel system, the planet Severus, offered his planet and his system, or his city, as a permanent residence for the IAE. So Severus is a major location because it's on the former borderline with the Xi'an. It was part of the former Perry Line areas, so it was a major military stronghold. And there they had tons of leftover military hangars and military-grade power plants and everything to run a military base that is under constant siege from, aliens attacking. And it was all sitting there because they had a hard time trying to get civilian colonists to come in and replace the military that had been there. So they had a lot of space, and they were very affordable. As a result, because the IAE had been having some problems with some of the planets they'd gone to, which possibly didn't have enough power to run the system, the systems that they needed, the Expo itself, they took the governor on this offer, and ever since 2913, the Expo has always been on Severus in the Keel system. Now, there is a slight change, and there's a couple other things that have happened. In 2946, they finally banned what was a controversial decision for a long time, which was booth babes. So if you haven't heard of the concept of booth babes, it's been here in reality. It was a problem for early E3 events. When E3 had become public, a lot of video game developers hired beautiful women, dressed them up into scantily clad outfits, and had them run around and talk to people and try to get them to the booths. This is, not too far from, I think there's something similar happened in car shows as well. But the IAE did not like this because it was giving them a bad reputation, so they banned booth babes in 2946. Drake, being clever and not giving a crap about the rules, subverted this, because one of the things they did was they hired a bunch of women and put them in scantily clad outfits. Now, what they said was that these women were all actresses in a movie that was coming out that prominently displayed Drake's ships, which was true. But the movie is more of like softcore pornography, so it was technically allowed because it was part of their brand, but really it was a chance to try to expose themselves to more of an audience, because again, Drake doesn't care about especially 2946 Drake did not care about the law or the rules. So this got them into a lot of trouble, and I believe the next year and even this year, booth babes are still very much banned. You can't have them in the events. Now, the next major change was the creation of the IAE West, or the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo West. Now, this is the first satellite location that was been opened by the IAE to show off more the IAE's kind of running stock for the audience beyond the Keel system, kind of going back to their old roaming days. But instead of moving the Keel system, there's just opening up satellite locations, similar to today how we have PAX West, PAX East, PAX South, and so on and so forth. Places that they can show off different stuff or similar ideas in different locations. This is currently taking place in Lorville on Stanton on Hurston in the Stanton system. So if you guys want to check that out, it's going to be running up until Friday, which may be too late if you're watching this video. But yeah, that's the IAE, which is now in game, which is fun. So you can go check it out and enjoy yourself. You can see some videos and pictures that people have been taking of it. It's been overall pretty intriguing and interesting experience. So that's going to be it for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you are watching us live, we're going to do some questions and answers about this and other lore topics that people have asked questions about. And if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to join us live. We're going to try to do this every third Thursday of the month, starting right now and going until probably 2019. So you're welcome to join us while we talk about these topics and other. And make sure you subscribe and hit that like button. It means a lot. Like I say every time, hope to see you guys again soon. But if I don't, hope to see you someday in the black. Later, guys.
All right, guys, that was Paul giving us our lore for the month. Please go to his YouTube channel and give him a like. Support him so we can keep getting all this great Star Citizen information. And up next will be Board Gamer. Radar scanners and mission sharing.
Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen, looking at hangars, transit, scanners, radars, and mission sharing. Today, this is a summary of Calling All Devs, Friends with Missions. Grimhex hangars. So, are there plans on opening the Grimhex hangars up soon? These will be opened up at some point and are on the backlog to be completed. Currently, they're working on Lorville, space stations, and other soon-to-be-announced things. Most locations will use hangars over landing pads or a mixture of the two. Landing pads will be more for the sort of like basic refuel and rearm. Opening the hangars up allows for more traffic in and out of Grimhex and is the sort of like safer landing of ships and storage of ships in a much more easy fashion.
Now this is upsetting. When I'm in my glaive, my cockpit's like fading in and out because I guess the technology or whatever to duplicate it wasn't finished, or they hacked into the alien ship to make it happen. So I get all this like garbled up systems. It doesn't seem to be happening on the glaive. So I think they should fix my ship too. Give me some better technology.
Landing zone connections. So will some moon and planet locations be connected with vast trams and railways of public transport spanning large portions of the planet? If they had trains connecting long distance landing zones, hub locations, mission areas, or whatever, it would be quite time consuming for them to build them and to ride them. It's much easier, especially at the moment, just to jump in a ship and travel there. They may add this in the future, though. There are just no plans currently for giant networks of trains spanning the entire planet. They have previously talked about a procedural system for placing roads, so something similar to that might happen for trains in the future. Also, currently, when they update the procedural tech,
no, I have not downloaded
it can change the terrain. So in the short term, it would be pretty pointless spending a couple of weeks of man hours to place these tracks by hand, only then to change them in a few weeks' time. At some point, though, they will have a more final version of their planet generation tech,
it's like a
which should mean the terrain is permanent or mostly permanent thereafter. This is also one of the reasons that they don't have fixed racetracks on planets and moons at the moment in the PU, because the terrain is currently in flux. Scanners and radars. So they talked a bit about exactly what scanners, radars, and pinging is, and sort of like plans for them in the future. Radars allow you to passively detect signatures within their boundaries, within the radar's bounds. EM, CS, and IR are all different signatures that can be detected. So that's electromagnetic, cross-section, and infrared. There's also a new one, RS, which is resources or mineable targets at the moment. But based on the distance a signature is away from your radar, a target is more or less likely to be detected. Items, players, ships, minables, they will all generate some form of signal. Both the radar and the object it's detecting have a sphere of influence for these different signals. If these intersect, then an object can be detected. In the example they give, so say there's a spaceship that's generating 1,000 EM and 500 IR signal. Because the sensors fall off at a rate of 1 unit per meter, that then means it generates enough EM to be detected 1,000 meters away from itself. So your radar might have a radius of 5,000, and it's set so that at that 5,000 range, you can detect any EM that is at a minimum of 1. So 5,000 meters away from your ship, you have this big radius from the ship, and then the object is creating a 1,000 EM. So
I must say the video footage is looking really good. I'd have to say that they took 4K, and then they went into the video settings like I showed at the beginning of the stream, and then they added like times 16 and times 8 on all the effects, and then they took it and shrunk it down to 1080 to get these videos like
1,000 meter basic radius of detection at one. So as long as you're within 6,000 meters of that target, you'll be able to detect it, because those two circles,
those ships are really
those two
sharp
spheres,
looking,
are basically
in-game.
intersecting. Beyond that, that's where the radar would fall off, and you wouldn't be able to detect them. These values and areas will be more exposed to the players via some form of UI,
especially
at some point already displayed on the HUD or whatever. They do obviously need a lot of work. They need to be fine-tuned and balanced, and they will see a lot of iteration. Pings. So
I like that,
at the moment,
black and red one.
ping items are all pretty similar right now. So it doesn't matter.
Anybody know what the
ship
black
you're using,
and red
pings are pretty much the same.
Eventually
they will come in different flavors and different abilities to detect things, but Pinging
that one?
basically acts as a multiplier to the radars, allowing objects to be detected at a greater distance. Objects and entities that are detected by a ping but are out of your radar range will all be grouped with other proximate signals, and then they will appear as a sensor blob and sensor areas on your HUD. So it will say there's something over here in this general large area, but you're not sure exactly what it is or how many of them there are. These blobs can be pretty massive, but they do sort of like give you the distance, how far they are away from you on your HUD at the moment. There's going to be some more info sort of exposed here in the future too. It will get added to the HUD, so they want some of the values of the signatures shown and what type of signatures are detected in that area, so you can see if something's a resource potentially, or maybe an enemy ship or something like that. Just these values.
Okay, so this one we know is the MISC. I think this is the normal one with the pirate skin. Oh.
Will be able to detect it, because those two circles, those two spheres.
The Max and the Dur. That's just the normal freelancer with the pirate skin, like I said, because you got the MISC, the normal, the mask.
Grouped with other proximate signals, and then they will appear as a sensor blob and sensor areas on your HUD. So it will say there's something over here in this general large area, but you're not sure exactly what it is or how many of them there are. These blobs can be pretty massive, but they do sort of like give you the distance, how far they are away from you on your HUD at the moment. There's going to be some more info sort of exposed here in the future too. It will get added to the HUD, so they want some of the values of the signatures shown and what type of signatures are detected in that area, so you can see if something's a resource potentially, or maybe an enemy ship or something like that. Just a bit more information. Scanning. So currently, when you hover your cursor and when you're in a ship over a selected item, it will give you information on that object or item. So this can be another ship, and it will tell you what faction, who owns it, the amount of cargo on the ship, its HP. If you're hovering over a mineable object, then it will tell you about the amounts of resources that object has in it. They are also expanding the system to planets, space station, and HUD items as well. All of these systems are going to be getting balanced, tweaked, and variety added to them. So expect lots of different types of item you can detect, as well as info on them, and more customization in your choice of radars and scanners that you can equip. They're not locked to the hull or whatever. You can change those items out just like any other. They talk about ones that are potentially more suited for detecting cargo and giving you more precise information on cargo, or life forms, who exactly is on board on ships or on colonies on planets, how many life forms are there. This will probably be quite good in the future, working out if something's got loads of animals around it or whatever, as well as ones that might look at armament, DPS, and that sort of stuff as well. Mission sharing. So they talked about the Tier 0 mission sharing that will be available. This is going to be available to parties, so you literally group up with some other characters, join a party together. The party leader will then be able to see everyone's accepted missions. He will then be able to say, I want to share this particular mission with everyone from those party members. When this happens, everyone in the party will get a notification, and they will be able to accept that particular mission that was put forward. It becomes the active mission for everyone that accepted it, and other missions that you had will be basically pushed to the bottom and become sort of inactive, although the timers and stuff will still tick down. Basically, you can only have one active tracked mission at a time at the moment, but you can technically have as many missions as you want, sort of like accepted. This allows players that have access to outlaw missions to share them with lawful players, and vice versa. Everyone in your party that has accepted that mission will be able to complete objectives, push the mission forward, but only the mission owner will be able to make mission-based choices that might happen, choosing conversation options, that sort of stuff. If a choice is to let someone live or die, then typically if someone shoots them in the head, that decision won't matter, even if it was a conversation option that the mission owner had. If the mission requires a specific quest item, then that item must get to the place it needs to get to. This could be like a virus to upload on a computer. The original mission owner might be the one that has that, but he might have given it to someone else. If there's a race or the mission owner has to get somewhere, then it's still them that needs to get somewhere. They have to specifically get there, not just anyone in their party. So some missions will basically be entirely completable by anyone in your party, whereas others may require an extra step or the mission owner to get somewhere, if you see what I mean. Everyone will share in the mission rewards, literally split evenly across everyone in the Tier 0 implementation anyway, and this can be financial rewards or reputation-based or both. This can obviously damage your reputation if you're an outlaw doing lawful missions or lawful person doing outlaw missions. You see what I mean? You can leave the party or pass leadership to someone else if you're the party leader. However, if you are the mission owner and you leave the party, the mission leaves with you. And that's true of whatever. If someone gets kicked out of the party as the mission owner, then that mission leaves with them. Hopefully, there will be some ways to prevent abuse of people leaving just before the mission ends. So if the mission owner goes, I want all the reward to myself, jumps out, that's obviously not ideal. As well as if there's a party leader who kicks everyone else out except for the mission owner, so that just those two get the reward, that's obviously not great. Either. But that sort of stuff can be prevented by just going and partying with trusted people, or if they ever do that, then don't party with them ever again. I am very excited and looking forward to mission sharing. I want them to get that in as soon as possible. So hopefully they'll get that Tier 0 implementation out shortly. But tell me what you think in the comments below. Are you super excited about mission sharing? Are you excited about anything else we talked about, or disappointed, or do you think something should work in a different way? Please tell me in the comments below. During December, we are giving away a Star Citizen game package, Saber Raven, and CitizenCon 2948 goodies pack. All you need to do to be in for a chance of winning those is be subscribed to my YouTube channel and comment on any of my videos made during December. More details are linked below. And if you are considering getting a new gaming PC or upgrading, first, please consider the Shadow Cloud gaming service. It leverages the power of your internet connection to turn a device, be it phone, laptop, tablet, or PC, into a powerful Windows 10 gaming rig. I've seen people just use their phones and a gamepad now to play Star Citizen. It works great for me in Star Citizen Alpha 3.3.7, and the Shadow guys keep on updating both their hardware and software. Your mileage may vary with Shadow though, based on your internet connection, so please bear that in mind. It is subscription based, and using the code BOARDGAMER will net you a discount. If you don't have Star Citizen yet, then please check out the links below as well to get 5,000 UEC, the in-game currency, as a bonus. Any comments and feedback is appreciated. Please take care, guys, and I'll see you in the verse.
All right, we'll put a link to Board's video. Giving you a link to his whole channel because you need to put a comment and like every single video that he's got for the month, and then you'll get a chance to for each entry the Saber Raven. Okay, last but not least, we got Nubify. No, Ox did this, but you said you haven't been keeping up with the news, so start here.
Hello YouTubers, this is the Nubifier with part 8 of Shipfight. Shipfight is a series aimed to identify the pros and cons between two ships in a seemingly similar role and price range. I feel confident today that we have enough information to discuss these two ships, so let's begin. The Anvil Hawk or the Aegis Stalker. The Hawk is a small ship with a small footprint, purpose-built for bounty hunting. The Aegis Avenger Stalker is a variant of a security patrol ship that has 8 cells as a module in the rear. And I quote, "This is the standard Avenger chassis with the Stalker prisoner transport module pre-installed. That means you can take it out and return this back to an Avenger Titan." Seems pretty appealing. Since the rework, the Avenger series has become a better value for your pledge dollar, and the Stalker is still $40 below the new pledge price of the Hawk. The Hawk was released last year on concept. In the Q&A, it was said to be above average in speed, not very stealthy, and average agility. I believe that was done on purpose to put it in line with the Stalker, which is slightly slower and more agile. The true deciding factor here is going to be how these ships behave after the new flight model. And even more important, how the fuel depletes once the fuel mechanics are implemented. The Hawk seems to be meant for pure solo manhunting. Both ships have base weapons to distort and disable a target, however the Hawk has one massive advantage over the Stalker, which is the EMP. The EMP is a skill hit that will reward a skillful player and give him the ability to bag and tag without a mess. I'd like to remind people that the Banu Defender concept was to release EMP missiles. So if they make it into game, the Stalker could technically exploit EMP gameplay as well. The Avenger as a platform seems to have better power reserves and capability, which in the future could provide better quantum performance, better protection from a less starved shield grid, and run weapons longer. Both have the ability to log out. The Stalker has a dedicated bed directly behind the pilot, and the Hawk requires you to leave the ship and lock yourself in the little cell. It's a little bit awkward, but it's still effective. The final point I'd like to bring up can be seen as irrelevant without further information from Tony Z. The Stalker has 8 cells, but if you're operating solo, it's unlikely you'll need more than one cell at a time. If the Hawk pilot's saucy and tries to do a 1v2, I'm sure the pilot will suffer. The same is true for the Avenger, but because it has more cells, that may open up to a situation where 2 or more players can use a mixture of ships and still have enough room to bag an entire Connie's worth of bounty. Again, all of this is quite speculative, and in closing, if you're looking to do bounty hunting, to me, the Hawk never made a compelling argument when compared to what we had. The Stalker seems to do more with less, and because the Hawk's at $100, you also have to consider the Cuddy Blue, which elevates the gameplay to an all-new level. Please let me know in the comments what you think and why. Thank you very much for your support, fly safe, and I'll see you in the verse.
I think Noob's saying that the Hawk is overpriced for what it is. Okay,
Hello YouTubers, this is the Noobifier. Calling All Devs is the late Monday feature where your questions are answered by the developer most qualified to take it. Here's what you need to know in 60 seconds. Opening up the hangars at Grimhex is on the planned set of work, but it's not a priority. Eventually, all the landing zones could be connected by a train system, but that's also not a priority. The planet shape changes sometimes between patches, which is why we don't currently have land-based races. Radars, ping, and scanners are unique. Radars let you detect signatures within your range in several signatures like EM, IR, and cross-section. The math involved is set so that the closer the signature is, the more likely you'll detect it. You can reduce the detection by reducing your emissions. A ping is more active and more sensitive. When you absolutely need to know for sure, you can blow your location with a ping and get a better idea of what's out there. Scanning is user-aimed and will provide information about the object being investigated. Tier 1 mission sharing will be available for party members. The party leader can see members' active missions, and providing that that player allows it, the party leader can share that mission with the entire team. A player will have the ability to select only one mission at a time to reduce HUD clutter. There you go, fly safe, and I'll see you in the verse. Hello YouTubers, this is
Calling All Devs. One more.
Hello YouTubers, this is the Noobifier.
Where's it at? Updated locations roadmap. Okay.
Hello YouTubers, this is the Noobifier. With 3.4 available to all on the PTU, the roadmap was updated, so let's take a look. Welcome to the updated location information that we'll see in the future, broken down into patches. In 3.4, we got the Lorville Business District, which is a more upscale section of what is, in general, a rundown dump of a city. The new atmosphere and feel of this location is awesome. 3.5 is Q1 of 2019, and it's slated for the release of ArcCorp. ArcCorp is a planet that's been teased in the social module and demos since 2015. The easiest way to describe ArcCorp is that it's a planet-sized city where 100% of the surface is consumed by it. Building it is a monumental procedurally generated task, which in the future may be fully explorable. If this gets pushed to later, I hope that the community understands how large the task is and it's okay not to flip out. ArcCorp has 2 moons. Lyria and Walla, which are both also expected.
Subnautica.
The release of ArcCorp, to me, is a great milestone as the population of the universe is more than just a couple space stations and an outpost. Moving on to Q2 of 2019, one not so important thing and one very important thing. The not so important thing is a rework of a very familiar comms array. These for the longest time were the only thing we could do in the universe except for camping SPK, camping Tessa, or camping Kovalex. You original backers know what I'm talking about. I believe the plan is to introduce some diversity in the individual construction of the stations, and then increase their size. Adding refineries is the next logical step in mining. The current implementation could be seen as a Tier 1 or perhaps Tier 1.5. The Prospector is meant to sift and collect raw ore. The Orion is meant to sift and collect, then refine. With refinery platforms available, it makes sense that the basic mining mechanics for the Prospector are going to evolve closer to what the intended end state is. And that's it, short and sweet. Thanks very much for spending your time with me. Please stay tuned so I can keep you up to date with short videos like this. Fly safe, and I'll see you in the verse.
All right. Moving fire. All right, here's a link to Noob's video. Please like, subscribe. And go into the gameplay section of the night, which is going to be short because it's already 3 o'clock in the morning, and I said I would go to 4, so we got 45 minutes. So we're going to go over the controls and settings tonight, and then we'll call it there. And then if Oxford's not here, he'll watch this and then he'll build upon it. So we're going to fire up X4. Had it on the other monitor. Here. So this is a really good game, but you got to get over the hump, and the hump is setting it up and understanding what to do. I spent 5 days and I was lost. I couldn't even set my controls. Nothing was working right. I figured out some things. Gotta grab my hose. All right. Let me get it so you can see my whole screen. There's so much screen there. I should do it. And when you go to settings, this is actually a really good one. It's kind of like a Star Citizen pacifier, but as I said, it's kind of hard. The first thing you want to do is you want to go into these game settings. And what they're going to do to you is they're going to have this auto roll is going to be on. And you need to shut that off. Otherwise, every time you roll your ship, it'll go back to where it thinks is level. So if you're trying to do something that requires a roll, it's going to screw you up. So you got to shut that auto roll off. I don't know why they do it. Do it. Sucks. It's on default.
Then I believe there's something else in here. Okay, this right here, this that they'll have, this one will be off, and it's maintain speed in menus. So every time you go into your menus, your ship will stop. And that's not what you want. So you have to turn this on. So there's, in game settings, there's two things that you need to change, which is your auto roll to off and your maintain speed in menus. Took me forever to figure out what was going on. I thought something was wrong with my HOTAS, with my pedals. I've unplugged my pedals, plugged my pedals back in, trying to figure out what the hell was going on. It was a nightmare. So, after you get past that, they make this crap really confusing. Go to controls, and then you go to general. Now, they got the same stuff listed, and it's all misnamed. I mean, it's so hard. But these guys are German that make this. I don't think they know English too well, and when they converted it over, they just made up shit. So, okay. The steering analog, if you have a HOTAS, is what you want to set to your HOTAS. The steering digital section, even though it'll include the buttons on your HOTAS, is keyboard and gamepad. So your real joysticks and your pedals go here. Everything else you set down here. Because I was looking at this, and I the first thing I did was steer up, and I clicked on it, and I started binding my HOTAS to it, and it was all screwed up. So this right here, let's see. If you press on something and then go on your keyboard and hit the delete key, the one that's next to your up and down, your page up and page down, it'll delete it. Not the one on the keypad off to the right, but the regular delete key. So your primary steering axis is your left and right on your stick. Which for some reason it's not getting picked up right now. What's going on here? Get back out of the game and come back in. Something's not quite right. Okay. think it's because I didn't start up my Thrustmaster software. All right, Merrick. Thanks for coming. I really appreciated your company. Okay, so we go to settings, controls, general. The top one is your right and left on your stick. For me, it's not working, but you'll get the point. This is mainly for Oxford, so he can get this stuff going. Okay, they're labeling, and this is mislabeled. The secondary steering here is damn, it won't even let me do it. Is your pedals. And my pedals aren't registering either. Something really kooky going on. I don't understand why. Huh. So the secondary steering is roll. The steer up and down is your HOTAS stick, up and down. This would be your Y axis. This is your roll, which is usually Z, and the top one is your X axis for your HOTAS. And then strafe, left and right. If you're gonna bind it to a key, you set it down here, like a key press. But if you actually have a second joystick, which I think Oxford does, so your secondary joystick would be your strafe right and left axis up here. And then your strafe up and down would be here. If you're using a like Warthog type throttle, you would set your throttle axis for that here. If not, then you would set the throttle down here for it for a digital button. The invert throttle you should not have to use. All this steering stuff right here is for like if you're gonna map it to your keyboard. This is all like for keyboards or to like buttons on your HOTAS. So these are my buttons for my hat switch on my HOTAS for the strafe. And then these are just like for your keyboard. The rest of these are just for your keyboard buttons or buttons on your HOTAS. And that right there is the secret to how to set this up. And then if something's backwards, like your pedals go the wrong way or whatever, go into here and then invert your axes for different things and your sensitivity, your dead zones for axis for your roll and all that right there if you need to invert them. And it's a shame that I can't set my stuff up and play right now because I'd have to reboot my computer. And I really don't want to do that. For some reason, my sticks and stuff are not being picked up. at the current time. And it is getting late. But I did want to do that so Oxford could watch the stream when he gets back or whatever, because it'll be on the video. So he figure out what took days for me to figure out. The most important thing is they got that auto roll on, which is totally makes you think that your pedals are broken. And they got that every time you click on the menu, your ship will stop, which is total garbage. And gotta find somebody to raid. How long playing Elite Dangerous? Like it was great having you guys here tonight. I really appreciate your company. This is Twistar82 doing the news for Oxford_SC. You guys have fun. Good night.